Hello everybody and welcome to our second game on Eindhoven country for the UTT2, that's the Ultimate Team Tournament 2, Qualification 1 semi-finals. After taking a really sad loss in Game 1, playing as the UKF, it is Lovenest, and his partner playing as the Soviets, DevM.
And this is Grayshaw17 bringing you two German forces that are probably very happy about their last victory, but they have to continue it, and that would be Seeking Guy as the Austere, going with an early MG Pioneer start with the Grenadier in production, with creative name bringing out Volks and Sturm, and already picking a doctrine, Overwatch Doctrine. We saw that play last time. Let's see how creative name uses it this time.
Sure.
And by the way, we actually already have doctrines.
Yeah, Overwatch Doctrine, I think, good pick. Let's have a look at Lovenest's choice. Mobile Assault Regiment, and this, of course, great. The Land Mattress is just forever been such a popular indirect fire tool, and it doesn't really detract from your teching, so that's good. DevM, Mechanized Support Tactics, and we're always going to see, I think, some kind of long-range tank unit on a map like Eindhoven, just because of that huge stretch that runs along the center of the map. Great thing about the ISU, though, is that it can toggle between the infantry and tanks. So perhaps DevM is going to have the winning tool in this game.
You say that, and Seeking Guy still has the opportunity to deploy an elephant. So we'll see if he changes that once he realizes what DevM has picked. Meanwhile, a good job on the allies. Right now we have, it looks like, 2 VPs right now under their control. There's a small battle going on in mid with an MG holding back those conscripts by the middle VP, and Volk squad's pushing on in against the conscripts trying to fall back behind that house.
We actually saw this in the last game when Seeking Guy and Creative Name were playing as allies. This incredible early game pushes from the infantry. And now they're going to be doing it as Axis, which is really good because they're going to have the support of an MG42, which I think is just going to help the four-man squads push up on the allied squads, which are usually larger in number.
Oh, on the far right-hand side on the VP, we have British infantry putting down some cover and just demolishing those Sturm Pioneers as they try to get close. But the Sturm Pioneers will be able to win it with a sliver of health and take over that point. Meanwhile, looks like mentioning about fuel, how it'll be hard to. We do have DevM trying to go for that fuel, but Seeking Guy is just not letting him have it. Grenadiers pushing him back. Wow, Pioneers go in and try to grab that munitions point with conscripts trying to come into support. Luckily, we did see in the early game, last game though, that we saw heavy amounts of infantry. It does look like we do have some support coming in with a Vickers machine gun, holding back some of the Volk squads trying to pour out of the castle area.
Yeah, I think the machine gun on that side is probably the most key tool to holding that at the start of the game. Surprised not to see the Vickers come out quicker, actually, because if they learnt anything from the last game, it was that this infantry push is coming. This seems to be like maybe something that Seeking Guy and Creative Name are going to be doing quite regularly throughout the whole tournament, and they need to be, in fact, any players that are going to come up against this team are going to need to be prepared for that. Let me just see the grouping here, the MG42, the Grenadiers. I wouldn't call it lobbing either. I still think they're actually, they're peeling off units to cap very well. You see that on the VP and munitions right now. They're kind of doing it when it's necessary to muscle the opponents off, and then the rest of the time.
Yeah. And even if people are blobbing, again, just for reference, as long as you're not doing like a dumb blob where you're just control-Aing the whole thing, as long as you're individually micro units around positions, because you can move people up. You see an MG, you spread out and just encircle it. Not a bad strategy. That way you keep your forces together, but you deal with problems separately. But yeah, Grenadiers managed to actually take the cover the conscripts built for them, and take a point that's nearly right outside it's DevM's and Lovenest base. A lot of conscripts, though, coming on in, but well-entrenched Grenadiers with MG backing them up is going to try to hold them out. And this is where, yeah, we have a lot of forces grouped up, but they're trying to get around, trying to separate themselves to deal with the Grenadier squad and hopefully get around the MG. Actually, we have an Engineer squad that snuck up behind it.
I don't think that Engineer squad is going to be particularly helpful, although it does actually force movement from the MG42 while some Grenadiers try and clear that out. The position of the MG42 is so good, by the way. The fact they've managed to utilize the Soviet green cover sandbag and then kind of like get all the units that flank around from distance with the MG42 just works so well. But yeah, after that rightly called out great flank from the engineers, Devem is going to get some control back and may even take the Volksgrenadiers down from Creative Name here.
They're incredibly low, but getting behind that house looks like they will survive to see another battle.
Half-Trek has arrived.
And then maybe die then. Nice rifle grenade pushed back one of the conscripts. Second squad also taking some health damage. Meanwhile, Seeking Guy deploying a half-track to come onto the front. He's not going to be reinforcing from it, immediately getting out the flamethrowers. So they want to keep the push going. They want to keep the allies pinned, keep them that bag. Right now they have them triple capped. Or we'll have them triple capped.
Yeah. Speaking of flamethrowers as well, Love Nest has equipped flamethrowers on his sappers, so the doctrine choice should now be obvious to Seeking Guy and Creative Name. And let's have a look what Creative Names just brought out. It's a Puma, actually. And these guys, by the way, they've had so much resource income at the start of this game. The map control is great, as you've already said. And it's kind of nice to see, because in the last game they spent the start of the game kind of just completely suppressed on VPs. You know, I don't think they want to go through that again, so the attention to victory points in this game has been a lot higher.
No, absolutely. Right now the allies need a form of AT to really deal with all that armor. Unfortunately, Devem has not gotten AT grenades nor an AT gun. Loveness is getting an AEC. But with that Puma on the field, oh, by the way, half-track on the far left, chasing down the poor engineer squad with minesweepers, trying to get that kill. Goes in the base. He's not going to chase, but was incredibly low.
Yeah, not quite enough, unfortunately. Stern Pioneers getting a really good flank on the Vickers, forcing that unit away. This is just getting worse and worse for Devest and Lovenem. Devest and Lovenem. Devem and Lovenest. My apologies.
I messed up left and right, so you're totally fine. But just to keep on the pressure, just to add a little more insult to injury, Seeking Guy has picked, oh boy, German infantry doctrine. So that'll allow him to upgrade his grenadiers to 5-man squads with G43 rifles. So yeah, it's going to just be additional pressure with the allies combating better equipped infantry. Oh, we'll see if they're able to break through. They are at least trying to push for their own fuel, but a well-entrenched Volk squad and a flamethrower unit coming from behind is going to at least delay them a little bit.
I would say at this point that, you know, it hasn't been the greatest start to the game, but Lovenest and Devem are getting the tools that they need ready to kind of counter this. So the biggest thing I think here is that, you know, Axis kind of get as many victory points down as they can, because if Devem and Lovenest can kind of counter what's on the field right now, you know, and play well, then, you know, they'll be fine. There's no real problem. But
yep.
It's almost kind of a case of the victory points. You can see here that Lovenest is just making use of his time and trying to lay some mines down. I'm pretty sure that's going to get seen by the Volksgrenadiers as they come in. In fact, they do see it, and Lovenest didn't manage to cancel that in time.
Oh, AEC's going on that half-track by the castle, but Puma coming on in to drive the AEC back, with a Pack 40 actually coming in behind the Puma as well for additional support. Meanwhile, it looks like a lot of the gains they've been making in the castle might be short-lived as some German infantry comes on in to help them recapture.
No AT grenades on those conscripts, so no snare when the Puma comes in. With Creative Name had noticed that then. Devem going for the victory point on the left-hand side. Recognizes the threat of the triple cap, which they're just about to dip below 300 VPs now, which for under 10 minutes of the game, it's probably some of the worst you can get a VP situation to be, I think.
Yeah, it's not great, but we have looks like artillery from the ZIS pushed back the Volk squads in the castle region. We have commandos actually hiding right next to some Jaeger light infantry squads. They might, I don't know what they're waiting for, but they could press and really push back that unit. especially if the air. Oh, you might be waiting for the air squad to push back the conscript and then charge it, and then maybe close the gap further.
Yeah.
Oh,
like,
nice.
Immediate thoughts were that maybe they're doing it for recon, just to spot for that AT gun that was there. But you know, sometimes you just gotta throw the grenade.
Yeah, especially if you get the squad wipe there. But last note, he does make it out alive. Commandos, though, hiding back in the castle region. Again, has to be wary of that half track. Doesn't matter if it's very good infantry, that flamethrower is still a threat. AC, though, back up and ready to go. Maybe they can kind of lure the half track in and knock it out real quick before the Puma gets wind of it. But we have a small push on the left with the Soviets by the munitions, stopping the Grenadiers from getting that cap. So meanwhile,
I think this will work out to be good timing because Seeking Guy and Creative Name are actually pretty focused on the right-hand side right now. The Puma and the half track are over there, so the T-70, which has just freshly arrived, is going to be able to clear everything out on the left and allow all the infantry to cap. So that's I think that's the pivotal moment we were looking for.
No, exactly. Yeah, the British infantry trying to knock out that pack, bring it down a little bit, but the half track comes in to push the infantry sections. That, meanwhile, a good blob of units by Creative Name comes on into the castle. And looks like the Soviets are trying to push that MG back, try to take the middle VP. Making a little headway.
They're trying to take it.
T-70. I was about to say, I'm surprised the T-70 is allowed to just sit there in the center like that with a AT gun and a Puma, but that's what we were expecting to happen. DevM, I think, being rightfully punished for leaving that in the open by an AT gun and Puma together. AC here needs to be careful, in danger of being Fausted, and it's a really important unit for them.
But no, and we're right now at a point where the Allies have been brought down to almost half their VP points right now. And Germans still looking pretty good. They are losing map control. I mean, they are slowly being pushed back, but I think they've done a good enough job to kind of build up their forces. I mean, right now, Creative Name is actually getting out of Stuka. Whether that'll be effective or not, we'll see. And Seeking Guy is getting a Panzer IV. So their early rush to get as many resources as possible has paid off. Now let's see if it can come to fruition. But,
it's really interesting because, yes, you know, like the Panzer IV is going to come out very early. The Stuka is going to be really useful. And there's always that kind of decision between, okay, well, we've got this huge resource lead. Do we tech and get the late game units out quicker? Like we're already doing well fighting against the early mid game that the opponents put out. Or do we just kind of rush out the medium vehicles and then try to capitalize on what we're already doing? And that's the decision they've gone with. My worry is that Devon and Lovenest are very capable players. If they do manage to take those units down, they'll probably equalize the resource position, the resource advantage, you know, that allies have had in the game so far. So it's I'm kind of excited to see what happens here. You know, with the T-70 and an AEC, Stuka's not going to be overly safe.
Yeah, it's his second T-70. That's a little bit risky to deploy a second light tank like a T-70 onto the field. It's actually immediately going to be Panzerfausted by the Grenadier squad. Oh no, and the Panzer IV is making his way over, but hits a mine! Okay, didn't see them place it, but neither did the Germans. Panzer IV pulling on back now, so at least that will keep the T-70 alive and well for a little longer.
You'd be crazy to look for a mine there, I think. You know, it's, here's the Stuka, you can see the shadows, and so is DevM. And he manages to dodge that pretty well.
Yep. Both, and again, good job on Lovenest. He's pushing on the right, grabbing the VP and munitions, and has gotten himself, again, a good hold there. Half track coming on in, trying to stop his advance, but AC not letting that go without some retribution. Dropping some smoke so he doesn't get hit by any pack fire, but I think he was going to try to line up another shot if he didn't go behind the building.
You know, I think this is pretty important, actually. The Puma just got snared there. AC has been pushed off in the center. The T-70 is actually fully repaired, but not really doing anything on that side. And perhaps not much to capitalize on. Panzer IV is nearly back at full health, but there is an AT gun there, which is delivering shots and just stopping that Panzer IV from getting the engine damage repaired.
Creative Name coming into support. Two Volk squads pushing back the AT gun. Meanwhile, T-70 trying to stop them, does force their retreat. Although Half-Track now is going to come in and hit all 3 conscripts, all grouped up behind that heavy cover, and force them back. So, AT gun though does manage to survive, and if they can get some recon, maybe they can fire another shot or 2 at that Panzer IV.
It's a bit like the game that we just cast previously, where allies spend a lot of the time on the back foot at the start of the game, but once they get that composition right, they put some really good strategies. And suddenly, hey, look at this. Lovenest and DevM now control more than half the map again. They now have double fuel. And they already know what their opponent's teching has been like, so now they're just going to have the resources to deliver the counter. And I think we just saw a squad wipe there. DevM just lost a conscript squad.
Yes, I want to say so. Oh, Grenadier squad barely makes out alive from that T-70. But also, again, gotta hand it to you. If we look at Grave Name and Seeking, they're fully upgraded. All the Volk squads, all the Grenadiers look very nice, have a good amount of errancy, and also have all the upgrades. They have a well-stacked group of infantry. So even though they've fallen back, it's not. They have a good fighting force, both with infantry and armor, to make some good plays. You just have to not overextend. I say this as the Puma dives the T-70.
Caster's curse. Don't do it.
Yep. Meanwhile, King Tiger dropped on the battlefield. No? Alright. Anyway, Half-Track coming on the conscript squad trying to go for that Puma. Panzer IV keep, when the Half-Track keep at bay. Grenadiers as well, getting a couple nice shots. And yeah, they're coming back. They're trying to grab mid and left. Grab those VPs to continue the pressure against the Allies. Which, speaking of which, we do have a Cromwell in development now by Love Nest. So that'll be, I believe, a first medium tank for the Allies.
I think it's a good choice. By the way, the commandos in the castle area are just so good. They're just constantly camouflaging in green cover, and like every single time the creative name goes over there, like they're a threat. They're somewhere. They're somewhere in that territory. You don't know where, but they will be there if you take your eyes off for a second. And so, actually, it's been a really important unit to hold that side. Here comes a good push from Seeking Guy through the center.
No, he's trying to advance. Rifle grenade going off on the MG. MG still clinging on the life. He's trying to suppress those grenadiers. Conscript squad line covered. Do we have anyone that can, any conscript that wants to sacrifice themselves to reinforce that MG? No, not lightweight. Maybe. No, no one's near. But they're still holding, although MG does go down for the count. And we have a pack gun as well as an MG trying to put some shots, but nice artillery by the ZIS-3 forces the MG and pack gun back. Half-Track going on in, gets AT grenaded and hit by, was it a mixture of the, no, it's double ZIS, and knocked out near the center VP. Really good play there. Half-Track tried to help out, but a little too much of a dive was spelled doom for it.
Really nice push from Seeking Guy and Creative Name here. They were kind of getting pushed back to their base a moment ago. They've managed to reclaim half of the map again. And Love Nest, both of his vehicles had to go over to the right-hand side to deal with an attempt to take the VP over there. DevM just trying to be as aggressive as possible with the conscripts, just trying to make sure those vehicles are always moving, that the AT guns are always able to have that sight to hit.
Puma gets hit by a nice AT grenade, gets hit by another AT gun. Now they're trying to direct fire for a lucky shot on target, although Stuka coming on in misses right between the lines of both AT guns. Oh, it could have been incredibly useful, but alas, Stuka misses. And Mattress does not miss, knocks out the Pack 40. Meanwhile,
here it goes, by the way. Cromwell has spotted the Stuka grey shot, and Cromwell is going to dive. I think Cromwell thinks it's worth it, but there's the snare. The Stuka just manages to get away, and now we have a serious problem for this Cromwell. Can it... I was hoping it would get that shot off on the Panzer IV, but it doesn't.
No. And yeah, Mr. Stuka twice, now trying to make its way back. Luckily, we do have some AT and light infantry over by the point that's heading to right now by the Soviets and the British. Hopefully they can cover its retreat and get it back behind Allied lines for some quick repairs. Yeah, most of the German units are far and away in the back, like in their base, or just coming out now. I don't think they have anything to really knock that out. So while it was a risky maneuver, at the very least, neither side lost anything. So
good. Love Nest brings back his shiny prize of the Pack 40. And if we didn't catch there is a land mattress on the field now, which was just trying to remove some of the support units. T70 picking up Veteran C2. Just going to be, like, just in the last game, I think just going to be a really, really good recon unit for the AT guns, and a really important unit to have on an open map like this. Suddenly, it's a reverse of the last game. Suddenly, the Allies have this huge army on the field. It is the Axis who are now starting to dip.
No, they are. But right now, nice shot with for Camo for perspective T70. And yeah, right now they're trying to take mid. They will be able to push back a lot of the infantry. There's still the AEC, but it's on priority vehicles, so it's not going to fire at any of those infantry units, and they will grab the point. Although Love Nest coming in with a nice cheeky grab on the left with his British infantry section, stopping the bleed before it becomes before it really starts to heat up. But no, yeah, you're right. But I like the back and forth nature. It just helps keep things very interesting. Again, we have multiple forces going all over the map, just constantly bringing in battles, and it's keeping the players on their toes about where the enemy could be coming next.
Enemy threatening a capture
Some
point.
really good mines that were planted from earlier, just going off there, allowing Loveness to go over to the right VP, just being some contested by some Volks Grenadiers, and Seeking Guy also trying to get hold of the left-hand side again. What's really good about this game so far is that the players are playing like the full length of the map right now. Like every single section of the map is being contested, like it's hotly contested as well. Not even just like light skirmishes or anything.
And yeah, right now, both sides deploy their tanks to cover each other's victory points and try to push the infantry away. Fortunately, that should allow hopefully these Grenadiers to grab the left VP. Meanwhile, we do have creative name. He's getting. Hold on. What is he getting out? Panzer IV now on the field. Interesting enough. I guess he's prioritizing the infantry over the armor. Really.
Yeah, I think
right now
I'm going to suggest maybe they're looking to overwhelm their opponents, and yeah, just so much infantry on the field. It's probably one of the best things he can bring out right now. I guess as well he can rely on sector assault later on to help deal with some of the vehicles, provided they're allowed to get that many munitions.
Yeah, that is the critical thing right now. They need those resources because again, the Allies were able to just keep calling in those strikes, the Sturmovik and the perimeter overwatch, because they were able to hold on to those munition points late game, which really helped them out control that territory. This round, I mean, yes, you have the sector assault, but like you don't have that like Overwatch ability really just like lock down that territory, which might not help the Allies, but they're still doing pretty well holding the territory without it.
This is nice from DevM, by the way. DevM's got a really good position in enemy territory, where he might be able to decap a strategic point, cutting access from their fuel for a little bit longer.
Panzer headquarters though, suppressing them, forcing them back. He wants to keep his conscripts there, but last they get suppressed, and that will stop any decap from occurring. Meanwhile, great use of the Soviet AT guns drives the Panzer IV back that was trying to come in to dissuade that T-70 from shooting those Grenadiers, but alas, not able to come in for the assistance. I was curious on this T-70 choice, but so far it's been really worth it to keep that infantry at bay.
Oh, that's a great Stuka, by the way, in the center. Stuka's wiped squads a couple of times. Well, actually, I mean, like the AT gun, so it's been able to be recruited, but has been relatively effective so far. Let's just check it out. 11 kills. It's not bad.
No, not at all. And at the very least, if you keep knocking out the support equipment, you reduce their veterancy, again, because it goes from, let's say, vet 2 or 3 down 0. And then, of course, you damage that unit. Again, AT guns can be destroyed by artillery if enough hits do hit that piece of machinery. So if they keep doing that and the Allies just kind of ignore it and just like, okay, we'll just recrew it, eventually they'll lose that unit. So they have to keep making sure they repair the unit and keep reinforcing.
It's a good point to always look out for. And if we see them repairing their decrewed AT guns like that, or even when they're crewed, we'll definitely point that out. That's always really good to see.
Oh,
So the
Mattress
land
coming
mattress
off.
is a really pointless targeting here.
I'm assuming he thought the Pack 40 would be moving into that position, but that is not the case. Yeah, there's the... So right now, yeah, he's just hitting dead air right now.
By the way, Devem has just called in the ISU. And so this is the unit that everyone was kind of waiting for to come into the game, which should be able to start restoring balance to the map.
Balance the map and fear to the Germans is right now they're going to need to really prioritize a lot of their vehicles to really wear that thing down, or maybe again call in that sector assault, but they just don't have the resources for it. Yeah. Also, by the way, the Panzerwerfer got a really nice shot on mid, pushing back those conscripts. Got a number of kills there, keeping the middle under German territory. So really good job there.
If I can just point out, Greyshot, there is this formation in the center is beautiful. Vet 3 T70 in recon mode, just able to provide really long sight for the ISU, and then they're just backed up with the 2 AT guns, like almost in a triangle, which is just like perfect positioning for this kind of play. Obviously, the Stuka is going to be really important here to try to get those AT guns down, but the T70 and the ISU, I mean, just really is the, you kind of need the recon to make the ISU effective, and this is perfect.
Oh, Panzer IV maneuvering. Again, ISU 152 and T70 are more forward facing. I think he was just trying to come in on the side, but again, Devim's like, that is not happening. I'm supporting my unit that I invested so many resources in. So many times I've seen players just get a big unit and decide it's going to win the game. You need to properly support it if you want to be truly effective. And that's exactly what Devim's doing right now with his AT gun supporting and his conscripts also, and his engineers laying mines around it just in case they try to push in.
Oh, Stuka actually, I've got to say, Devem did a really good job avoiding the Stuka barrage that came down. And Seeking Guy, who's gone for a Panzerwerfer, has just tried to deliver the finishing blows where he moved to.
But he did hurt the armor. And even though it didn't get a lot of kills, it did do some armor damage, which will allow it to increase that veterancy. So it's a good chunk almost of veterancy too. So if he can keep getting some good hits, even if he doesn't kill, he'll just keep making that Panzerwerfer even more of a deadly threat. Ooh. Puma charging straight at the T70. I think the IC-152 was switching rounds, which allowed the Puma an opportunity, a brief one, to do some damage. Oh wait, conscripts diving. The Puma gets a nice ET grenade. Nothing though to really follow up on.
Yeah, Devon there, he's trying to go for the decap again, but the Panzerschwerer headquarters is suppressing the squad. And it's quite sad. I mean, Seeking Guy's Panzer IV has just kind of been designated to the left VP to try and defend that. It looks like Creative Name might just be able to take the right-hand side now. But remember, Allies are still, losing the VP battle in this game. So having a unit like the ISU, as great as that is, they're not going to be particularly efficient on the outsides of the map.
Hey, real quick, can you look over by the 6-pounder on the right-hand side by the castle and look by the building that got just destroyed? A frag bomb just came in, and that's a lot of dead Soviets from that hit.
Which
Holy
building
mackerel.
is that, sorry?
Right by the castle, by the AC and the MG, there's a bunch of Soviet dead bodies.
Oh my god,
that was an excellent frag bomb, knocking out a good chunk of Devim's forces.
What is the Panzerwerfer doing? What is the Panzerwerfer doing in the center there? It's crazy. Oh, the ISU! Big shot. Not really sure what the Panzerwerfer was doing there. I think Seeking Guy is going to be cursing right now.
Oh no, absolutely. It's like, why did charge forward? Because everyone's had that time where why is that Stuka charging the enemy? It's like, oh, misclick. But yeah, at the very least, he'll get a low retribution because he is severely down on infantry and he doesn't have a lot of reserves to redeploy them. And right now, again, the Seeking Guy and Creative Name still have a large infantry force of very well-equipped, high veterancy forces that hold those VPs. And right now, that is having an effect. The Allies just clicked under 100 VP points. So if they can keep up the pressure and keep them alive, that will truly help them out.
You can see on the graphs here, Devon Love Nest starting to show signs of cracking, and you rightly point out, under 100 VPs, this is where the pressure comes in.
Oh, ISU on 5-2 advancing with that T70 right behind. I don't know what it's trying to look for, but yeah, it's pulling on back now. T70 going out for some recon. Oh, they find a Panther. Though once again, with AT support, they're not going to make much headway against that ISU on 5-2. Oh, we have that match firing again. Maybe this will be a better shot than last.
It's in a really good position this time too. And it's going to force retreat of a lot of units that need to be actually up on the front lines right now. Looks like Creative Name just managed to break across the right for a second, but a second land mattress forces all those squads away. And this is going to be really, really punishing whenever they try to group their units together like this. Like the land mattress is going to prevent them from taking the map back. And the more the Axis get pushed back into their base, the worse this is going to become.
Yeah, and I was going to bring up, like, okay, so maybe bring up an LEFH to try to counter barrage, but as we can kind of see, and again, what should be recommended, if you do fire any piece of artillery, always reposition it. Always, always, always. That way the enemy doesn't have a clear idea where exactly it is. Even if they go to where it was, it's gone. So that way also it stops IL-2 bomb strikes or Stuka bombs from hitting that piece of artillery, no matter if it's a small piece like a mortar or a large piece like a Katusha or, like I said, a Stuka.
Yeah, many people actually just cue the command, you know, so they cue the command to fire and then reverse. And I think if you're not doing that at top level without a good reason for it, then, you know, you need to rethink. That's the way I'll use it.
Speaking of which, we have conscripts diving at Panzer IV, really trying to get that snare, I'm assuming, for the IC-152 to really finish it off. But Panther comes in along its side, forcing it back. AT gun misses. Panther might have an opportunity to kill the Juggernaut on the field.
Actually, yeah, Panther's in a really good position here, but Creative Name's also going to call in the Sector Overwatch, the Sector Assault, sorry. So now the ISU is going to get raided with planes, and there goes the ISU. DevM's absolutely key unit taken down in an amazing push from Seeking Guy.
And T70 gets knocked out by, was it Creative Names Panther as well. Really, like, even though Love Nest has a good chunk of forces, Insane DevM is down to, what, 3 units?
Yeah, that's
things are not...
that's a lot of losses.
Yes, and he doesn't have a ton of manpower to refill those missing ranks. He has a good chunk of fuel, but manpower-wise, also, although Allies coming back with a nice mean mattress against those Grenadiers in mid. But
so
yeah,
beautiful. Panzerwerfer coming in. Seeking Guy looks like he got another one. He's also using fragmentation bombs here in the center. Wipes squad from Love Nest. And of course, Love Nest is really the guy who's hanging on to the front lines right now. He's the one with the units, as DevM is just desperate to get back in.
Are you seeing DevM's forces currently being hit by mattress fire in mid? Because his conscripts are being blasted by it for a good 20 seconds, right? Oh, they're still being blasted by it as they retreat into the mattress.
I mean, you just look at the center of this map right now. It's just craters and craters. One of the best things about Company of Heroes 2 really is just like the terraforming you get after a really long, vicious battle like this. And of course, all that medium cover, any units that are able to stealth are going to be way more effective in the center of the map now, but I don't think we're actually seeing many of those. Maybe the Jaeger.
No, I mean, the commandos have been essentially just more hiding out in the castle region, just kind of using the high cover and the sight lines to really just hide and pounce. Unfortunately, they were pushed back by some, I believe, Volk squads. But still, again, good use over there with those. But right now, Love Nest has a lot to do. He is getting himself a Comet, but he has to hold off 2 essential armies while Insane slowly builds his forces back up.
I really feel like DevM's going to be doing some serious backseat gaming right now where he doesn't have many squads to control. Love Nest, go and do this. Love Nest, go and do this. I may as well click around and tell you what to fight against.
Yeah. Oh. And he when he does his assault, he just doesn't have a lot of men to really back it up. So DevM is just really just at odds right now. He really has to rely on his counterpart to really keep things going. And yeah, right now Panther trying to run over those rail engineers on the far right as Seeking Guy pushes in mid and drives back those AT guns.
Line's been cut.
Yeah, you gotta think, how are the Allies gonna get around this at the moment? Well, they've got the land mattresses, and the land mattresses might pick up those essential squad wipes. They've got the AT guns, so they should be able to deal with the Panthers and everything else. And of course, Cromwell and Comet. I mean, the army, I think, is there. The problem is just one army is there.
Yeah.
And, DevM right now, I think, has just got to play the kind of role where he is, well, clearly he's going to be taking a serious anti-tank role with his 2 AT guns, but he's got to be providing the recon for Loveness to work what he has.
No, yeah. Luckily, DevM is building up his forces. If I have to make a guess, it looks like with the amount of manpower he's saving up, he's going to be deploying another ISU and 5.2 in the next few moments. The question is, can that be deployed fast enough to have an impact on this game? Because right now, you can see that Seeking Guy and Creative Name are putting a ton of pressure right now. And while the Brits are doing a phenomenal job, they have a ton of resources, not only in the bank, but they also have a ton of units on the field. And the mattresses are trying their best to keep the infantry at bay, as even though it hits the Panzer IV right now. Comet coming in, forcing them back. Oh wait, it's actually doing a ton of damage on that Panzer IV, and with the Comet, drives it back.
This is going to be an essential Faust, though, from Seeking Guy. And the Faust really important here. By the way, bear in mind, if Seeking Guy and Creative Name win this game, they win the series. So
25 points left.
really, really important now for Loveness and DevM to get grip of this 25 VPs that is remaining.
So right now, Panzer IV and Puma target the Comet, right now dropping that repair smoke ability, try to keep it floating, keep it alive. Looks like that will be okay, and they'll be able to keep themselves in the fight with those units. Let's see. IL-2 bomb strike coming in mid. Unfortunately, missing all targets. Not really doing much of it, having much of an impact.
I would have to say at this point that I'm not seeing many options for allies to get back into this. Axis are just sitting on top of the center VP. There's no real chance to get the units out quickly so that they can cap, and no presence on the left. With about 10 VPs remaining, I don't even think there's enough time.
No.
For them to
and the only thing I could think of, was a building to deploy the commandos to try to cap that point, but there's nothing close in proximity. That's alive, mind you, that hasn't been destroyed by artillery fire. So, yeah.
Been another crazy game. Both games in this series really, really good. Massive comebacks from Seeking Guy and Creative Name, I think, both times.
No, absolutely. Again, really good job. And with that, with the German armors closing in on the Brits, and 1 point remaining, they surrender. There we go.
GG.